to the stage now. Give a big round of applause. Coming on.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Justin Burns. I'm the founder of two tech companies, Maestro, and also apps built with AI. To be here.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brandon Johnson. I'm an engineer at NVIDIA. I'm also a former venture partner in VC.
Some friends in the audience.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shannon Bell. I'm a futurist, so I help companies, institutions, and society understand where technology is going and what it means for what they're building and doing.
Okay, we've got all the right brands on the stage for you today. So I'm going to jump right in with a spicy question. 1 year from today, the people who benefit most from AI are the people who fill in the blank.
I'd say the people who have adapted. I think whether you're an investor, a business owner, or you work for somebody else, the skills that you have today are going to continue to have to evolve. If you're an investor, your investment thesis shouldn't look the same as it did in 2021, and the same if you're a business owner. What does this mean for your business model? So I think the people who have adapted are the people who have gotten ahead and figured it out.
I think the people who are curious about AI will be further along. I think too often we fear this technology, rightfully so, there are reasons to be concerned. But the people who are curious, who take the time to actually learn more about it, figure out ways to just use it in their day-to-day lives. Actually, many of you here represent Claude Code and OpenAI's privilege. But the people who take the time to remain curious and actually think about how they can implement it in their daily lives will be a lot further along if they're getting into it.
I think the people that will essentially be ahead of the curve are the builders. Like the people who actually use AI, not just to, ChatGPT or Claude actually serving and solving real world problems. A lot of people are thinking about ideas and they use AI, but it's the builders, it's the people that are actually going to see problems in the world and actually solve them.
Thank you. Now, this is really great, but I want everybody to leave today knowing one thing that they can do this week to learn with AI, build with AI, or earn with AI. So we're going to get all on the business right now. What is something that you've done personally with AI within the last 7 days that you've recommended?
Ask that question again.
What have you done with AI in the last 7 days that you would recommend someone to do right now?
Yeah, so I always tell people this is one of the greatest times in human history. I know there's so many bad things and there's so much going on in the world, but I'm here to tell everybody here that if you have an idea, you should be building. And I always tell people, any idea, there's so many problems in the world, from international problems to health problems. There's just so many different ideas that you could be able to take. But most people, they either say, hey, how can I be sure that my idea is good, right? And most people question that. So one of the things that we've been building, we actually built a platform. I actually, we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but I spent $1 million on developers building my company, and I bootstrapped the whole company, right? Which is crazy. But now you have tools like Claude Code, Absolute AI, that you can leave here. You can actually go and say, here's the problem, and then you go home and actually build it in a week. We've been building tools, and so there's just so many. I just want you guys to get this. I want you to feel it, right? Everybody here, doesn't matter where you're starting off, make sure that you understand this is the greatest time in history. You just have to take action. There's so many people, they sit on good ideas. Where are all the good ideas? They say most of the ideas go to what? The graveyard, right? And most people, they don't take action. They sit on these great ideas because there's fear. And listen, fear is natural. Push through it, build. AI is here to help.
We're going to stay there for a second. Open the door about good ideas for a second. What I'm thinking is like everyone now has access to these ideas. Everyone can turn a million ideas into prompts, but what makes it marketable? What makes it actually profitable? Good for you.
I can jump in. I think what's important to recognize with the moment we're in is that the delta between your idea and actually building it and trying it and testing it is closing. So there's no longer just be an idea that sits on its own, maybe a PowerPoint deck and you're explaining it to people. The idea and the building are one. And the alpha moves to how well can you iterate on that idea. So can you build out a prototype, some form of an MVP? Can you learn and create a feedback loop from that prototype that's going to be quite cheap? And that is the coupling of the idea and the prototype into one. So it's that testing iterative loop that becomes really important in this moment.
I think the key to solving, the key to building anything is really understanding the problem. Oftentimes we have the idea, and maybe that idea to us seems like it might be a problem. But with these tools and AI tools, we equally spend as much time figuring out what does the market look like, right? Can I actually turn this into a business? Really understand the problem. And if you're going to be selling this to something, that's the reason why every company exists, to sell a product or service, that you're a nonprofit. You have to understand not only the problem that you're solving, but you have to understand your customers' problem. And oftentimes we don't go that far. We say, hey, this is a problem, I'm going to build a solution for you. But if you don't understand not only your problem, and understand really the customer's problem, it's going to be hard to sell anything. So I would say before you get into build mode, validate your thesis, validate your idea, do more research on it. Understand what people are willing to pay for. Because what you may be willing to pay for may not be something that others are willing to pay for. And just iterate on that. The last thing I would say is make sure you have a tight pitch. A lot of people will tell you about the idea and say, hey, I got this thing that it works and does X, Y, Z. But they have no plan about the true go-to-market. Who are you going to sell it to? Who's going to be your initial customer? That stuff is really important because as you scale, you realize that people don't scale processes and systems do. So the more you know about the market you're going to go into, who's going to be your day one customers, who's going to be your design partners, the better it is at scale. You can always hire more people, but those processes are really what's going to be building. That's the big difference between ideation and building a business.
And I think the beauty here is that all these things can be solved with AI, but most people forget to kind of ask these questions. To think about the marketplace strategy, competitor, distribution, supplier costs. It's right there. It needs to be verifiable. It's built on.
I want to add one more thing that's really important. So you might have an amazing idea and go-to-market strategy, but don't forget, it's not just the builders, the businesses who have access to AI. Your future customer does too. So a lot of times we think about, okay, how can we automate this workflow and make things go faster? But if your customer, your target market, is also automating how they are showing up in e-commerce. Maybe they have a team of agents that are buying for them. Does that change who you think you're targeting and how you think you're reaching them? Because you don't want to be solving a problem of which your customer is actually already automating. So we have to remember that the entire environment, we're stepping into an AI economy and we're exiting the internet economy. So the AI economy isn't the internet but faster or more automated. It is something new. The same way YouTube wouldn't have described itself as a faster cable. It was a new environment, right? People could participate. We're going into a really new place. So before you think about just solving a problem that seems like it exists today, you have to do that further out analysis to say, well, where is this market going? Is this still going to be my customer's problem in the future? And what tools do they have in their toolkit as well?
And I want to add to that too. Let's get tangible a little bit. Y'all good with that? Let's get real tangible because I feel like most people, they get hung up on the idea part, right? It's like they go, do I have a good idea? Do I not have a good idea? Let's get tangible. Like, here's the thing. You either got, I tell people all the time, the fastest way to go to market is this. Is finding ideas that are already making money and making improvements on them. I call them opportunity gaps. So here's a few opportunity gaps that most people don't understand because most of you are looking at, like, you see these companies, these tech companies, these AI companies, they're $50 million, $100 million, right? Here's the thing, they don't all do things the right way. Here's what I mean. Most people don't understand is they have bad design. Most people, like, if you're building, say, like a tech product, don't think y'all realize like how bad some people's designs, right? That's one opportunity. Pricing, right? You have a pricing gap. But here's the other way. I want you guys to write this website down. I'm gonna give y'all some tangibles. Number one, it's a website called producthunt.com. So that's producthunt, HUNT.com. Most companies that are coming out, like these are more like tech companies like apps, mobile apps, all the biggest companies, they go to this site and they release on this site. So you're actually able to see most of the companies that are releasing their products. Now, here's the value in that. You can actually see what customers are saying. You don't need to guess. Because customers, when they release on these different platforms, I'm sure you guys heard about Trustpilot, right? Heard of Trustpilot? Yeah. Some of y'all got rated yesterday on Trustpilot, okay? So here's what you do. You go to Trustpilot, you can see what customers are saying. Well, the customer service is bad. Well, the pricing is bad. Then you go and you reiterate. You don't have to guess because, let me just tell you, there's so many opportunities. And you don't have to be like, well, is it going to have that? No, go and reiterate and improve.
Justin, you actually said something really good earlier, and I wanted to dig in a bit around. You built your own company before all of this happened. You spent a lot of money because you don't have a technical background, right? Said all of those things, but if everyone out here wants to build it up now, what has changed? What's changed for them?
Listen, let me tell y'all, just so y'all know, I am not the most technical tool in the box. Okay, I was the opposite. So about 2015, I had this idea because I had been in the education space for about 10 years, and I was like, oh, I want to create this platform for creators. So I went out there, was trying to raise a lot of capital, but a lot of people don't tell me that there's a small amount of capital, especially that goes to black people, right? So instead of me, I was like, you know what? I don't have a lot of money to build this company, and nobody, I went to like 100 meetings, and nobody would give me an opportunity. So instead of me thinking like, you know what, I'm a failure or I need to go that traditional route, I started putting on my hat and I started building this company, and I started building it in tandem with not just trying to raise money, but with the end. Most people, you know, Mama used to say, you put in the cart before the horse. Sometimes you gotta do that, okay? And what I mean by that is when I start thinking about how can I get customers? I want you guys to understand something. You're sitting next to someone, most of some people, because they're introverted, they come into rooms like this, and you sit down and you leave right back out the room. Here's what I would employ everybody here to do if you want to get the most out of investments. I've met some of my business partners. There's people sitting next to you. Introduce yourself to them because they may have an audience that you can get in front of. Don't leave out those doors. That's how I built Maestro. I started, we call it pre-selling. I started pre-selling my product, and I started saying I'm a tech founder before I was even a tech founder. Then the old way was you had to hire developers. So I hired my first developer. He ran off for $50,000, and I had literally $50,000. Y'all know, look, the old Chicago version of me want to come out and go chase that. But here's what I decided to do. I said, okay, that was a life lesson. Let me reiterate. So I hired more developers, and we ended up spending $1 million. I don't know where I found this $1 million at Job Look. You know what they say, you find the money when you want something bad enough, yes? So I started finding money. Nowadays, you don't have to do that because there's tools, like write this down, Claude Code, right? How many guys use Claude Code in here? You spend a weekend, watch this. You don't have to be super technical, guys. You can spend a weekend learning Claude Code. There's also Codex, right? You know, there's always these AI tools. There's other tools like Shameless Plug, Apps Built with AI, one of the first black platforms where you can literally enter in a prompt and it builds out your code. This is the greatest time in history. And as Mama used to say, don't mess it up.
I promised just that I would give you a look if it was going on too long. It was coming out, but you did great. But you're leaning on something like it's so accessible and everyone can do this now. So I want to talk to you a bit, Jimmy, because everyone, whether you're working in corporate or you're working for yourself, everyone overnight now has the ability to be a builder, an engineer, and it's really blurring the lines of the workforce because at 62%, AI job skills get paid 62% higher, and they're growing 8 times faster in the job market. At the same time, entry-level roles demand skills that used to be seen. How does one even begin to approach the career market with those two truths happening at the same time?
Okay, I'm going to separate the two facts that you talked about. So the first you said is jobs that require AI skills are paying 62% premium and growing 8 times faster. And so if you're a newer worker and you don't necessarily have experience, how should you think about that? Well, AI skills and experience in the workforce that's not necessarily a prerequisite, right? You can be building your own AI skills and not have had any opportunity in the workforce yet. You're going to see this great equalizing in the AI era. And there's a quote that I love from my former professor, that the skills that made you dominant before AI may not be the same skills that make you dominant after AI. And that's really important to understand. So the alpha is switching towards, or moving towards, your ability to leverage artificial intelligence, and then the skills that complement AI. So that's something like creative intelligence, your social skills, your communication skills. If you knew how much poor communication costs a company every year, so now if you have a technology like AI, think about it as an example, you have a great prototype, the idea is amazing, you're ready to go to market, but you can't convince your team that this is the idea we're betting on. You can't persuade people that this is what we're supposed to go after. Everything stalls. So if you can build up AI skills, and then the human skills beside it, creative intelligence, judgment, communication, then that equalizes somebody that's had a lot of time in the workforce, but doesn't know how to transfer those skills into the new era. The second part of your comment, which is also really important, especially if you're maybe fresh out of college or you're new into the workforce, was that skills or jobs that are considered junior, postings for jobs in AI-related industries that are considered junior, also now require skills that would have predominantly been associated with leadership level. So you could be a junior and you're seeing that on the application it requires something like leadership, vision, judgment. You don't necessarily have to have work experience to have leadership experience, to have vision, to be adaptable, to have good communication skills. So you have to start thinking more creatively about where else can I be building these skills. And the second, and this is probably the most important skill of AI age, period, is judgment. Do you know which problems are worth solving? And do you know when AI gives you an answer, is this good? Is this usable? Is this testable? Is this feasible? So if you're a junior and you feel like you haven't had time to build a learning legal judgment, because judgment is just the time that allows experience to become valuable, you're going to have to do that in much more innovative ways. So think about how do you make a decision, think about what you learn from that decision, and create your own learning